Hello, friends. Here we are again. Welcome to Free Range Thinking. And we are here in our cozy recording caves, ready to dive into some interesting topics and rabbit holes. I'm Sharon Lee.
And I'm Alex Carl, and every week we serve up a delicious buffet of neurodivergent topics, discussions, questions, and explorations around the subject of living as a neurodivergent human. And we enjoy talking about and celebrating how people like us can not only thrive in today's world, but prosper. Because the world desperately needs neurodivergent humans to bring real transformation and evolution to mankind.
It's because we are the keys through the shitstorm of a one-size-fits-all world. And that is no joke.
No, that is no joke. And we have a
Funny at times, but not a joke.
not a joke. Yeah, that's the difference.
Very funny at times. Yes. Yeah, so we're here today. I know that we're going to be editing, and putting this in another space, but when we're actually taping this, it's in October, and lots of stuff is going on, and Alex and I haven't met for a couple weeks now, and it's like, oh, I don't know if that's a good thing because stuff builds up and we want to talk to each other, and then we start taping and totally blow past the intro, and and then one of us he was like, hey, shouldn't we like say the intro and start recording this yet? But always a pleasure. And it's like, it is because during the time that we don't meet, I come across so many things and I'm just like, oh, I have to talk to you about that. Oh, I have to talk to Alex about that.
Me
So
too. I have to start some kind of document. At least
yeah.
when I know we are not going to talk in a weekly manner, then
Mhm.
I need something to put everything I want to talk with Sharon about into. Because when you
Yeah.
messaged me, when you messaged me, oh, there was so much going on, and I have so much to talk to you about. There were like 4 or 5 light bulbs going up in my head, but
Uh-huh.
I didn't know what they were saying. So I know.
Yeah.
I know that there are several things I thought about. I have to talk to Sharon about this, and I'm really interested in what you are thinking about this. But I haven't written them down in that context. I know I've written them down, and I tried to
Mm-hmm.
find them before we
Mm-hmm.
started recording, but I couldn't.
I know. I do the same thing.
Oh, that's so frustrating.
Yes. So I have to start it like just keep a note thing file for you on my phone and be like, I'm gonna name the file Hey Alex.
Yeah.
Because that's basically how I would start the conversation. Oh my God. Oh hey, you know. Oh, this is a cool thing. And it's also um what I've realized, because since I'm busy this month, I've backed off everything. And yeah, so you're kind of in the middle of stuff that I'm doing, but I'm like, no, we're doing this because I just, it's it's also a good excuse to be able to talk with you. And I realized that since I've basically cleared everybody off my calendar, the few people that I am talking with, they're all neurodivergent.
Hmm.
And I'm like, so it really struck me in the last number of weeks. It's like, this is so interesting. And the people that I have in my orbit, but it's so important for me to have these kinds of conversations that I love and that really feed my soul and that feed my creativity.
Mhm.
Um, and it's like, okay, and then I start thinking, well, what is the percentage? What is the optimal percentage of neurodivergent conversations that I need to have, to keep me, my machine running it at an optimal creative level?
Mhm.
Because I feel very fortunate now, um, to be being aware of it. Because before I really wasn't that aware of it, and it seemed like I was, the majority of the conversations I was having in the years past, well, throughout my whole life, were with um, neurotypicals, and now it's like such a high level of neurodivergent conversations that I have, and I feel like my life is very rich right now.
Mm.
Yeah, so that kind of struck me in the last couple of weeks of just weeding everybody out and having just a few conversations. And one of the things that came up were two of the people that are neurodivergent, but they are um, one person said specifically, yeah, well, I'm not really big on labels. But then the longer we were discussing, because we were spending a number of days together, we were, what came out of it was that when we do label, or when we're not when we do label, when we're allowed to label ourselves, or language, not label, but when we can put language around who we are and talk openly about who we are and how we are, it's the freedom of that is indescribable almost. Because the two people that I was speaking with, there were, at first they were, that thing of like, well, I don't really know about the label thing, this kind of thing. And then
Mm-hmm.
by the last couple of days, they were like, huh, I'm pretty amazing. And that's huge. That's a huge thing, to give oneself the permission to be amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this is all very fresh, so there's a lot of stuff that isn't fully baked in thinking about it. And I'm like, wow, I should, well, you're one of the people that I was like, oh my gosh, we should talk about this on the podcast. Because I'm sure other people feel this way.
Why did you talk about what is bad about labeling?
Um, it's not as bad about labeling. It's not, that's too strong of a word,
Okay, or
but
what bothers the people about labeling?
not 100% sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just kind of this, like a passing comment. I don't know that they could really articulate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, both of them are very articulate, but I don't know that it might have been the first time they've really thought about it. And so I wasn't pressing anything. I wasn't, I was just letting whatever emerge. I wasn't, so what do you think about it?
Mm-hmm.
Give me in 3 points the positive and 3 points the negative. I wasn't doing any of that.
And do
I
it in a
was,
minute, please.
yeah, right. So I was just observing,
Mm-hmm.
and I noticed the things and patterns of what they were saying. And yeah, I found it interesting that in the beginning couple days it was not a skepticism, but there's that, and I've felt it with other people. I've seen it and felt it with other people who are neurodivergent, and they're saying that, I think that because of a lot of the pathologizing that goes on, that maybe they don't want to be seen that way
Mm.
because of the way the cultures have, pathologized so many aspects of neurodivergence.
In the German language, there is not. I know I have to say differently. Labeling for me is more of a positive thing because since let's say 2006 or 2007, around that time frame, I understood that, or I connect labeling, or for me, labeling is the same as putting a tag on something,
Mm-hmm.
like hashtag or
Yeah.
a tag in a library, because in German we don't have the expression to tag somebody, but when we say the same thing, we say you put somebody in a drawer.
Yeah. In a
So you,
box, in a
so,
drawer.
so you put something in a drawer or in a box, and the difference between labeling and being put in a box or in a drawer is you can only be in one box, but you can
Right.
have unlimited labels. So labels are
Mm-hmm.
being labeled or label yourself or label something is not negative to me because something can have like infinite labels, but you
Mm-hmm.
can't be in infinitive boxes. You can only be in one box, unless you are really good friends with Schrödinger. But and you are a cat. So that's back then when the whole digitalization thing started for me. I knew that labeling something is quite a good thing because then you can see patterns emerge, then you can
Mm-hmm.
find things, use you can use things in different contexts. Yeah, it's like for me the analogy that I always use is that you can find what's inside the book in unlimited contexts, and you don't have to go in one specific section in one specific library room at one specific shelf. um, you can find it for your future me in different contexts, and that's what labeling even persons can be. So I
Mm-hmm.
can, and that's I think that's quite powerful because when you put somebody in a box, like I don't like this person, I put this person in the I don't like the person box or in the I like the person very much box. Then, especially when you put them in the I don't like them box, there's a problem because you are probably not going to open this box until you put somebody else in it, and then you close it really fast again. But you're not going you're not going to look in this box that often. But when you label somebody with, okay, I don't like this person really much, but they have really interesting thoughts about this, or they know that, or we work together really well in this circumstance, or even we had a really good time in this event, then the I don't like someone is not that powerful anymore.
Mm-hmm. 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 And it's also the thing of, you know, having others, being labeled by others and being labeled, labeling ourselves and putting language around, because it's kind of more the direction is that it's powerful to be able to claim who we are.
And I really like. I
Mhm.
personally, sorry, when I interrupt, I just
I
had.
don't know.
I really like to be labeled by others. I like. I like
Do
being
you?
labeled. Yeah, absolutely, because then I learn something about me that I don't know already.
What if it's wrong? And ooh,
Is
oh,
it
I've got an
wrong?
example.
When
Mm.
okay, give the example first, please.
Because when I was talking to my friend Alexandra,
Mm?
and and then we had the conversation, and then afterwards we were talking by text. And I should pull it up also because help remind me better. Um, um, it's okay for being neurodivergent, and the being like on the spectrum, kind of the autism spectrum, and the fact that some of us get labeled, because of how we interact.
Mm?
And other people would say, well, you're this or you're that. And as for little kids, because it's one thing to be labeled as an adult, it's another whole thing to be labeled as a kid,
Mm-hmm.
because the imprinting is very strong and can be very destructive.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but and so she and I have this thing in common, and so this is what we were talking about. Um, because we're also thinking of doing workshops together, and we're developing some things. And I was telling her, I was saying, hey, are we biased because we had the luck? Because it's a lottery. It's just a lottery that we were in the families that we were born into. We weren't made to feel, bizarre or off or stupid or anything
Mm-hmm.
as little kids. Whereas a lot of people that I know were told that something was wrong with them. And Alex and I um, we were just kind of left to ourselves, and our oddities were seen, either they were ignored, um, or it wasn't so much boosted, because neither one of us remember that being little kids, but there was just no negativity around it. So we were kind of allowed to develop on our own, sort of. And this is again the kind of the Montessori thing. This is what I was like going, I want to talk to you, Alex,
Mm-hmm.
because both you guys are named Alex,
Mm-hmm.
Alexandra. I'll call her Alexandra, for the differentiate. But it was so that popped into my head. I'm wondering if, like, wow, we accidentally grew up in this kind of Montessori-esque atmosphere in our homes, which is very, very lucky. And so then, but as adults, oh yeah, in starting in school, people started saying, well, you're odd. People start noticing that we were odd, and or different. And odd, being their words, I thought, when she and I, because we had a sense of self,
Mm-hmm.
because nobody gave us any negative input, we just thought, yeah, well, they just don't know. They're the ones that are odd.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand? So it's like she and I both have a very strong sense of self, not because of the input of, like, oh, you're amazing as a little kid, but just there was an absence of any negativity on how we were.
Hmm.
So that um, later on, as adults, if somebody says something to me in a negative way, I don't take it personally. I just go, huh, that's interesting. Or, they don't know. They must not know. Which can come across as being, not judgmental, but arrogant, and kind of a lacking of humility. And I've been accused of these things. But for me, it's like, that doesn't occur to me. It's just I just have a healthy sense of self and who I am. So because somebody says something to me in a negative manner, I don't take it on. I'll listen to it and I'll go, okay, is it true? Like that, that saying of, like, if somebody tells you you're an ass, kind of go like, okay, well, whatever, that's your opinion. And if another person says it, you kind of go, okay, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder, and if a third person tells you that, okay, then you can maybe turn around and start looking for a tail. So it's like it has to come in a pattern. And so Alexandra and I are kind of in the camp of, um, and again, being on the spectrum, it was like, it doesn't matter because we're so being introverted, this intrinsic engine that we both have in common, or similar, not in common. We don't, but it's like, if somebody says something, you're like, huh, I wonder if that's so. There's a detachment,
Mm-hmm.
with it, that comes with it. That's it's pretty cool because you don't get dragged down by feelings of like they said this about me, you know. There's kind of it's kind of absent of
Mm.
that. It's a literal thing. It's like we have the ability to stand outside of it. Um, um, and but what is interesting is when people, and this is where our conversation and our note exchange after we had our conversation, our text exchange, was that it's very often where people will project things. Well, we all,
Mm.
humans, we all project things onto each other. Um, and because she was explaining something that somebody was projecting something or saying something to her, and that wasn't true.
Mm.
And but the person that was projecting the thing onto her, um, they think very clearly that that's the way it is. That's the way we are. And it's not so. And you're like, no, that's not, in this particular case, they were saying, you lack self-confidence. And she was saying, and I don't lack self-confidence in that area. She said, I was just thinking out loud.
Mm.
And I was saying, oh, that happened to me recently too. And I said it was interesting because the person was thinking that I was lacking self-confidence when in fact I was thinking out loud, and I was just looking at all the different aspects of this particular situation
Why?
that I was discussing.
Can you explain?
I know it sounds vague.
No,
But,
can you explain why thinking out loud looks like not being self-confident for somebody else?
this is a good question. So there's a vulnerability factor, perhaps, that a lot of people feel by saying I don't know, or maybe, because a lot of people, most people that I know, don't share the internal work. They want it to be fully formed before they let somebody see.
Hmm.
And myself, I mean, of course, anybody who knows me who's listening to this, you're probably laughing now. It's like, and I'm pretty open about my thinking process.
Mm.
And it doesn't occur to me. I mean, now there's some people that I won't do that in front of, which is then, of course, another part of Alexander and I's conversation, because there's sometimes where you think you're safe to talk like that, and then there's a gotcha type of a thing where somebody will latch on to something and they're like, you're like this, you think that. We're like, no, and it doesn't matter what we say. And then it feels like a violation. So we're pretty much, not very, but depending, of aware of who we can do that around and who we can't. And when sometimes we get caught because you think you can do that around somebody when in fact you can't. Somebody who's very judgmental. Yeah. I didn't answer your question, did I?
Isn't that exactly what you are doing right now in
Yes.
front of the whole internet?
Yes, but I'm talking to you.
Yeah, you're talking to me, but
And so
it
you don't attack me, and you don't, and you ask, if you don't understand something, you'll ask a question.
Yeah.
You don't say, you mean da 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 da. And that means you are da 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 da.
Mm.
So I'm very safe with you. And
right now there's a really big discussion in Germany going on around the book that is criticizing the media, especially the German media.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw a discussion, a talk show, where the two authors of the book, and I mean it's really hard to sympathize with the two authors, because they are impersonating white old men quite good. But they have some. On the other hand, they have some points as well. And the two journalists who were in the talk show, who felt really, really criticized really badly by the two authors. One is some kind of. He's a little bit like the German Bundesphilosopher. So he's working in the field of philosophy really a lot, but in a trivial way, and in a way that he explains a lot of philosophy in a broad manner, and he's not like a philosophy professor or something like that. But he has some smart thoughts, and the other one is a sociologist. So those two wrote a book about media, and that media isn't working really good right now. So that's in a nutshell. And there were two journalists in this talk show who felt personally attacked by it. And seeing this discussion was really interesting, because those two journalists interpreted the book in a way that the two authors almost in 80% of the statements said that doesn't stand in the book. That is not what we have written. And I discussed this with several people. And one guy in particular said, yeah, but isn't that the problem of the authors? When they write something as a sender of a message that could be misunderstood so easily, isn't that their problem then? And first I said, yes, yeah, you're right. They maybe they had to be clearer about that. But then I realized that it's not only about the sender of a message. It's also on the receiving side, because if you want to understand something wrong, or if you want to relabel something for your agenda, or to make your point, then people do that as well. And I can't pinpoint down the moment or an event or something like that when that became clear to me. It must have been several years ago, but for me, and there we come back to the labeling thing, because when somebody labels me, especially when they can make their point and can explain why they are labeling me in a way, that first and foremost helps me to understand myself better, how other people receive me. And when I say, okay, they don't mean that in a malicious or evil way or to hurt me, they just perceive me in this way. Then it's
But
at least...
isn't there the delivery to it? That because somebody can say something like that, and other people, there's a judgment attached to it. Because very rarely do people give a label or an interaction without having a judgment attached.
Yeah, when
very rare.
When I would let's say I sit in a meeting and I am thinking out loud, and I am turning this normally internal way of thinking to the outside, so that others can understand how the thought is coming together. Or because I need it, like right now in this moment, I need to talk about this thought, because otherwise we have to say, okay, let's stop here and let's talk about it next week or so.
Yeah.
So it's some kind of a necessity to thinking out loudly.
Exactly.
And even in a situation where somebody would say, "Oh, that doesn't look really self-confident," or "Can't you do that at home?" I don't think that I would feel threatened or hurt or whatever by it, but because that says more about the other side than about me.
True. Yeah, that's my point, is that they are reflecting how they feel onto us.
Yeah, maybe
We
they're
get a lot of
impatient.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they're impatient. Maybe they know just much more than you. So maybe
Or they lack self-confidence. Therefore, when they hear you saying that, they're noticing certain signs. But again, this is a thing. Certain signs in other people don't mean the same things in other people.
Yeah.
It's like what looks like a lack of confidence in people who think aloud, who need to think aloud and solve things, and they're in a completely comfortable state. They might look like they're unsure about what they're saying or what they're doing, but that's in fact not what's happening. And so but the people who have a high level of insecurity and shame around being unsure will see somebody doing that, and they will correlate those actions falsely. You understand what I mean? So it's like and that's not necessarily, well, it could be a labeling thing, I guess.
It could lead to a can I give an example? It could lead to a situation like you are thinking out loud, and in a meeting of 10 people, maybe you are thinking out loud, you're describing your thought process, and you are trying to make a point. Maybe we already talked about that and like half a year ago and came to a conclusion, and I'm sitting in this round as well. And maybe it's not even meant in a harsh or malicious manner. And I would go, and that probably could totally happen to me. that I say, Sharon, come on, get to the point. Sharon, come on, we don't have time.
Okay, wait, hold on a second. That's not the same thing as get to the point as saying you are insecure.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yes, it is.
Now, see, it has to do with saying you are something. You are this way, and it's false. Get to the point, or saying, you're going on and on. That doesn't have anything to do with an identity.
I know.
Thing.
I wanted to say that somebody else who is sitting in this round could misinterpret my friend, my friend teasing between two of us.
Okay, right.
Without me saying. Without me saying you lack self-confidence or something, somebody else who sits in this round could interpret it like this, and then wouldn't speak out or wouldn't think out loud anymore because they interpreted my originally friendly teasing in your direction, because we know each other, as an, Alex attacked Sharon really badly and thinks she lacks confidence, and now I won't speak what I am thinking because I don't want to be attacked in that way.
Oh, sure. Stuff like that happens all the time. Yeah.
So it can happen even without labeling it really clear.
Well, it's like people, I don't think there's a lot of things on the awareness level that, the people don't even know that they're labeling.
Yeah.
It's just that when somebody reacts in a certain way, they are reacting to what they perceive and their biases of the particular situation or the person,
Mm.
which there's some kind of a labeling in there, even conscious or unconscious.
Mm.
The thing, like somebody needs help, somebody doesn't need help, somebody needs to be saved, the person doesn't need to be saved. This
Mm.
person is, I mean, it's just, it's very, it's constant, and it's, yeah, I mean, humans do it. Humans do this. Um, yeah. But to go back to it, what Alexandra and I were talking about
Yep.
is we were having this conversation about like what and how much of this, how are we affected as neurodivergents? How much are we affected by this kind of unspoken,
Mm.
um, conscious or unconscious labeling? Again, it's the culture of what we learn,
Mm.
and what we bring into the world with us as we navigate daily life, uh, and how much of it is, because there's a freedom to what she and I were talking about. There's a freedom of being on the spectrum, of kind of being not distant, but we're removed.
Mm-hmm.
We're a little bit removed on the perspective of, um, it can be annoying, sure, but we don't take it as a hit, a
Yeah.
stab to the heart. It's just like, these people, they have to. So we're naturally, accidentally removed from, or not removed. There's a separation where from the taking it personally. And so we were wondering, and here's the thing that we were wondering about,
Mm.
is like how many of us have that because of, and this would be great if somebody, hey, if anybody's listening, do some research so we don't have to. Because it would be interesting as to how much of it is being on the spectrum, and how much of it is having the luxury of growing up in a childhood situation like she and I had, um, of just kind of having that Montessori-ish thing of being able to develop naturally, and to being able to develop a sense of self naturally. Because I don't know which is which. I don't know how much of it is being on the spectrum, and like where's the overlap in that. So that's what we were interested in the conversation that we were having. um, that then as adults, what allows us to navigate, and again, the word freedom kept coming up for us, because we're not burdened by it. It doesn't keep us up at night. It doesn't. So something might be a minor annoyance, but it's not. It's not really like an attack, and this thing. It doesn't touch the shame. Doesn't seem to touch the shame buttons like it does for other people. Um,
It never
and
did, or it never did, or you
Not really,
learned
not really.
to. Okay.
No,
Okay.
no, no, no. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Neither one of us knows. And we were like, "What? Oh, we have to talk to more people about this because it's interesting."
Mm.
Suddenly, we both came across this, tripped across this thing, and like, well, is it a being allowed to, grow up and self-develop in a, um, unobstructed way, where we have a sense of self, this intrinsic sense of self. Is it because of that, or
Mm.
more because of, or and is it and because we're not sure. But it seemed interesting. It seemed interesting that both of us have that thing. We experience that thing.
I think the growing up part
Yeah.
is, especially nowadays, much, much, much more diverse than for kids today. It's much more
Mm-hmm.
diverse than when we were growing up.
Mm-hmm. But there's a lot more pressure culturally.
And what do you mean? In what way?
It's like when we were little, it was time. There was a lot of free time, and now there's like so much structured time. Everything is structured, and then you have the internet. Because we didn't have the internet, there was nothing pulling at our attention um, like it is now. I mean, kids were bored, uh, you know, and so the boredom isn't quite the same. There's just this constant, you know, attention, which of course makes all kids these days look like they have ADD. So it's that um, because when we were growing up, it was there. I don't want to say there's nothing. I don't mean it literally like that, but we had lots and lots of free time,
Mm.
lots of it, a ton
Mm.
of it. So you could think things through and process and figure things out, run around in the woods. And unless somebody grows up in a rural uh, place, but even kids who grow up in the rural atmosphere, you still have the internet. It's like everybody. It's anything that you want to know, anything that you want to do. This self entertainment is at a more rapid pace. Um, there's more of a consumption level to the attention entertainment, self entertainment aspect than before.
I try to give an example.
Mm-hmm.
Our daughter here at 6 years old, she has a really I mean the days are quite structured, especially in the Monday to Friday as a necessity.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, in the Montessori school, there is this concept of free working time.
Mm-hmm.
So they are really, yeah, they are protecting like at least 2 more 3 or 4 hour blocks of free time that they can work on tasks or on the subject. The funny thing is, I told with an Montessori pedagogue about that last week, because she said she retired 2 years ago, and she does some coaching for the pedagogues in the school, as well as for the teachers.
Mm-hmm.
And she said the teachers are really, really hard to crack nuts, as we would say in German, because they are really, especially around this free working time,
Mm-hmm.
and to let the kids loose in this 2 hours or 3 hours and let them do whatever they want around the subject of mathematics, for example, or subject of German language, learning to write and to read. It's really hard for the teachers, especially because they were indoctrinated for 3 or 5 years when they were studying how to be teachers, that everything has to happen after this German Prussian Lehrplan, this teaching plan.
Yes. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
saying, okay, there are kids in the Montessori school that that dived deep into mathematics for 9 or 10 months.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't want to do anything else than play around with numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And they were concerned. A mother told me that, so that the teachers as well as the parents were concerned if this kid is ever going to learn how to read and write.
Mm-hmm.
because he wasn't interested in learning or writing. And then 9 or 10 months later, when they were really, really close to an intervention, like, okay, we have to sit down with him and start to push him into the direction of learning how to read and how to write. He did it himself. He learned how to read and how to write. They said he learned it in a span of around 2 weeks. Where I said, I'm not so sure if that's what really happened. He learned how to read and how to write like the whole 10 months before. He just wasn't interested in it, to doing it himself.
Right.
But he still learned it, and he picked up things here and there. And when he was done with mathematics for his taste, then something switched and he was interested in language all of a sudden.
Yeah.
But
because he's not like learning the mathematics in a vacuum. He's obviously absorbing the reading and the writing without actually doing it. And a kid, I'm assuming, who's that into mathematics, they would have an amazing capacity to absorb other things.
I would,
because of the logic of it. Yeah,
and
that's just my guess.
I would guess, or I would assume that this kid was reached a level of understanding on a mathematical basis, like maybe pattern recognition or logic or whatever, that then the pieces for learning how to read and write fell together by itself.
Yeah.
Because there's a logic and a system behind it also. And it's just another way to learn. This kid maybe learned how to put together a mathematical system first, and then used his knowledge about putting together a mathematical system, and used it really quickly to get up the level of the other kids.
Right.
But teachers, I also can understand the teachers are really, really nervous when the plan says kids have to learn this in month 1 and this in month 2 and this in month 3. And that's not going to happen. And they just see, okay, we have to spend so much time with this kid, time that we don't have, to get him. We need to spend 10 more months with him about writing and reading, because he wasted, in air quotes, all his time on mathematics. And getting comfortable with everything is okay, and everything is going to work out for teachers is quite. I think it's really, really hard for them.
I imagine so. I imagine teachers who have been indoctrinated with it's like doctors having to learn about empathy.
Yeah.
When they've been studying that, the body and the body mind, the patient body thing is separated. Then they have to bring it back together. I imagine that's very, very difficult to understand the whole, how everything's connected. The whole person type of medical treatment, the whole the wellness, whole person wellness.
Yeah.
After going through medical school where it's totally, isolated and specialized and separate, and they don't teach any people skills, so it's the same sort of thing. But again, you and I come across this all the time. It's like, Montessori for adults. Yes. And this is the answer. Yeah. But letting people learn at their own pace, and not being told, you don't have to have anybody tell you, oh, you're so smart, you're so bright, you don't need it. Just leave the kid alone. and buy them more books or buy them the things that they're interested in, or not necessarily buy them, but take them to the library, show them things on the internet. It's like, hey, I know you're interested in this. Look at this, and give them something else in that category until they're, full, and then they'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah, for me, it's the most suitable example is doing. I know we talked about this a lot here as well. Is doing the taxes. Doing my taxes, which I have to do monthly, which I have to do yearly, and I fucking always let deadlines slide until it becomes almost like criminal. Like,
Yeah.
okay, we are going to send somebody your house, or it becomes so expensive that I say, okay, now I can't afford it anymore to postpone it or to procrastinate on it. And that's where I think, okay, maybe the financial system just should think about how to make doing your taxes applicable to neurodivergent people. That is the one size fits all system, or one size has to fit all system. Otherwise you're really screwed. It's the worst I can think of for me.
Yeah. No, it's brutal.
And finding something that could really make it work for anybody, would be really great.
I'd like to see that.
And maybe it just needs some kind of translators, or this paw holding you were talking about some months ago. Like, maybe it would be much more effective not to teach doctors more empathy, but to combine doctors in situations where you can say, okay, you really need a lot of empathy in this situation, that you send somebody who's really empathetic with them to the patient. I don't know if empathy is something you really can learn, or maybe yes, maybe it is.
Depends on I think it depends on the person. Again, there's again, I can use myself as an example. It's not clear for me totally whether the things that my experience with feelings is learned, or in terms of a studied aspect of it, a scientific aspect of it, or if I actually feel them, because it's almost like I think about it and then okay, yes, now I feel them. It's not feelings first and then the labeling it. It's the opposite for me. But that's because I think accidentally, like I said, for those of you who are new to this, I new to our podcast. It's my mother worked in a place called Council for Exceptional Children, and she started off being a secretary in the company or association, and then she ended up being editor of this and that, but she was also doing book illustrations, and she was writing reviews for the materials that came through the council. And so she would bring home materials. So everything that was coming across that they were using in schools and institutions for teaching or supplementing for neurodivergent kids, and a lot of them were for people that needed a lot of support on the autism spectrum. So she brought home all these materials and was kind of using my sister and I to test them out. And then she was writing reviews on them, not knowing that I was on the edge of the spectrum. And so I have no idea, in my case, where I really am with that. Without any intervention at all, what would I be like now? I can't possibly go back and say what would I be like, because I can't imagine.
Yeah.
But everything was completely logical to me. And I'm on I'm gonna say the personality type, I'm on the thinking side, and my sister was really off the charts on the feeling scale. So we were actually a good test group with these materials.
Do you know this? I mean, I think it isn't really scientific, but do you know the this visual test with the horse? If the horse is going forward or backward? Oh, this is one of the things I forgot to write down.
Do you have it? Can you? Is there a graphic? Can you show me a graphic?
Yeah, I sent you a link.
Let me
it's
look at
it's a link to a tweet, and there's a horse in this graphic. And without reading the text, maybe click on the play button, then tell me which direction the horse is walking for you.
Looks like it's walking backwards.
Ah, okay. Yeah, for me as well. For most people I ask, it's walking backwards. For my daughter, and two other friends, it was walking forward. And the person who posted the link said, if it's going backward, then you are more on the...
It says right brain, yeah.
It's right brain, but I think so you are left-handed. So for you, it's more the left-handed side, the left brain side, and not the right brain side. Because when it's going backwards, then it is more, you are more...
Whoops, wait, hold on, sorry. Hold on, so sorry.
What happened?
Well, there's music to the video thing, and I was trying to shut the window, but I actually clicked on play. Sorry about
that. And I totally thought I would be on the logical left brain side, but it's walking backwards, so maybe I'm more on the right brain, more on the... And some of the descriptions always also fit to me, that I'm more on this creative and pattern recognition side, and not on the really logical, analytical side. But I would like to be there, or my self... And that's where we make full circle with the labeling. I guess I myself would label me as a logical, thinking, analytical person. But most people around me wouldn't. So...
See, I'm both. I'm both.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's a spectrum as well. So
exactly.
We most of the time are both, but depending on the situation, depending on the task, depending what people are surrounding us. I mean, depending which people are around me, I might be conceived as a completely different person by somebody who normally is in another group of people surrounding me. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Totally.
And that is the problem with labeling, and that is the thing.
And again, I have to point this out. Or is this test done for neurotypicals, or is it done? This is my first question, because the thing with the eye movement thing, the upright or right, I don't follow that. I break that code.
Yeah, me too.
Now it's come out where it says, okay, that's the whole thing is bullshit. Um, a lot of tests like that are, it's now becoming evident that a lot of them are bullshit. So
Yeah.
my first thing about the horse thing is like bullshit,
Yeah,
is it true? Is it true?
it's
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I like it as a
And
conversation starter.
so exactly. But we also have to be careful how we
Yeah.
talk about it,
Yeah.
because people, there's this test that was done, and it's like, ooh, careful.
Yeah.
And but the the people who like having exact answers and exact testing, that you can test it. Here we have a fact. They will discount other things within it and the marginalized aspects of it, and just go with the, this is so because, and it's like, when in fact it's like, you forgot about these things. You forgot about the marginalized and the people on the edges of the spectrums. Yeah, because it's anything that says you are either this or this right off the bat, I'm like, yeah, bullshit. There's nothing that clear cut. There's nothing that clear cut.
I hope I find it again. I've read a really interesting article about the brain, and especially the brain of really creative people. I think they put them in MRTs? I don't remember, but it's said that creative people, or the brains of creative people, really work differently than those of the not so creative people. And it's not that they are working just in the right hemisphere of the brain, but the whole brain is connected in a completely different manner than in the I label them now as non-creative people. But maybe in different situations that's harsh, and maybe in different situations those people are really creative as well. So it always depends on, you can have an let's say an analytical accountant who is working in a really, really structured, rule-based, analytical and logical manner, or engineers, for example. And when those people are doing sports, for example, then suddenly they are a completely different human being, because as soon as they are doing their sports, they are don't doing it analytically and logically, but really creatively. So what somebody needs to do is invent some mobile MRT system that you can put on your head while you're working in accounting and while playing soccer, for example, and then see, do those people, or do the brains of those people work in a completely different manner when they do different things. And that's my thesis, because it's easy, or it's easier to do those tests on people that are really creative, that are, for example, artists that paint pictures, because you can put them in a surrounding where you can test this and measure how is the brain working when they are being creative. And in other people, that's not so easy to measure how they are creative in other
well,
situations.
I have to say this comes back to I'm sure we already talked about it, but I don't remember. I can't imagine I didn't bring it up to you, about the George Land and the guy who did the research for NASA, for the engineers. So the people who are adults, who they say who you are right now speaking about, who are creative, and the other ones who are not so creative, the ones who are quote unquote not so creative are the ones who have succumbed to cultural bashing of the creativity. So they it's weeded out, it's so the ones who have retained the creative capacity these are the ones that are standing out in these brain tests, when in fact, everybody else, we all have the capacity. It's just that it's too difficult to maintain the cultural pressure to stop being creative, the
And
punishment factor. So that it's like, depending on the situation, of course, some of it shines through, but not like when we were little kids, unless we are so either neurodivergent that we are impervious to the pressures of society, which is, again, I go back to the thing of, I think that's what Alexandra and I were talking about,
mm,
because we kind of slip through the cracks in that aspect
mm.
because we're intrinsically motivated. Therefore, the cultures of society, we don't feel the same pressure. And
And
so therefore we have the capacity to retain a higher level of creativity.
yes,
This is an interesting thing because it brought us right totally around to
yes, and
that whole thing. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
and I mean, I'm far away from having any idea about neuroscience or brain science. But what I learned is that the brain gets stronger in everything it does repeatedly, because they are
Mm-hmm.
building neural pathways in the brain, and this neural network of the brain gets stronger with everything that it's doing repeatedly. So when you are doing repeatedly really structured, logical, analytical stuff in processes, then your brain gets good at working in processes.
Mm-hmm.
What you described with you and with Alexandra, using creativity to slip through the cracks, and what we talked about on the podcast a lot of, is that neurodivergent people are really good at hacking the system, or
But it's
navigating.
also, we are
Just
not
just
using that to slip through the cracks.
No, we are doing it intuitively. We have to.
Slip through the cracks because we retain that thing. Sorry, had to.
Yes, and
Okay,
it's
go
a
on.
and
Yeah.
it's a self-assuring or a
Mm-hmm.
self-optimizing system. The more we
Mm-hmm.
do it, the better we
Yeah.
get at it.
Right. Right.
And the more we get
Mm-hmm.
better at it, the more odd we seem to those
Yes.
logical, analytical people, because the gap
Yes.
gets wider and wider between the two of us.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But it's the people, because, and then I was asking Alexandra, it's like, okay, knowing that we're good at it, and that we've been able to retain this,
Mm,
and it is attached to, the happiness, and kind of, because people who are still attached to that childhood, like, creativity and joy, because the joy and the creativity are definitely connected.
mm,
And it's like, wow, okay, if we know this, what do we do with it? And is there kind of a responsibility for those of us who who do have a connection with this childhood creativity? There's a thing of, shouldn't we help other people re reconnect? Is there a way? How? I mean, I'm sure there are ways to do it, but how? And a lot of it has to do with some people find it through meditation, some people find it through sport, some people find it through a number of different, just taking time and calmness and being in nature and things like this, and story and art. And so it's like, okay, how can we help people doing what we do now? Is there an aspect that we can help other people,
I th-
neurodivergent and neurotypical?
I think it
Because
be
it's both sides. Not all neurodivergents have high levels of still connection with their childhood creativity. It's just that some of us do. Some of us have a very high level of that.
And I think you have to, especially to people who went really far in the other direction, you have to give them upfront usefulness or what's in it for them to try it out, or to get the idea that there's something they could or should do about it. Because I think a lot of people don't have any idea why they should reconnect with their childhood creativity. Because why?
Oh, of course not. But if there's people that are, I'm miserable,
Yeah.
you know, maybe they should try that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like if somebody's perfectly happy, yeah, you know, you're perfectly happy the way you are. And but if somebody's like, there's something missing, I'm not happy, you know, something, then generally speaking, closing the gap or narrowing that gap will bring that back. You know, it's when I talk to people and they, you know, it's like there's a disconnect. The ones that are unhappy, there seems to be a disconnect between and a very large gap. Because anybody who's doing what they love and has the curiosity and the components of that childhood just passion about something, these people are generally happy. You know, I want to say, you know, and I'm talking in a bit of a generalized way because of, you know, trauma notwithstanding and hardship notwithstanding, but there's a definite connection there. No question. Yeah.
I just had an idea and I remembered something I wanted to ask you. So I have to throw it out now, but that's maybe it's also a good parking downhill and getting around, because I thought the talking about the creativity and the fact that you have a new background behind yourself, like the autumn fall colored background, made me think if you could paint some digital backgrounds for the snippets of our conversations that I would like to take out and put into YouTube.
Oh, sure.
Like because the video frame, the video picture is too small to go full frame in this YouTube context.
Okay.
So I thought, hey, we can use this smaller frame, and you paint some backgrounds and some art that we could put in the background of the video, so that it's more interesting and it's another talking point maybe for people, like what is this in the background, and just not that is what I forget to write down last week or the week before, and now I just had the idea to so that the artwork is some kind of animated, that I put two of them overlapping, and then put this normally you have this transition between two graphics or between two pictures in a video where they blend together. That I take this transition and make it like 5 minutes long, so that those two pictures are changing really, really slowly. That was something I just...
Oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting experiment. Yeah. I would like to try and do something like that. There's a... Yeah. Okay. Because I just experimented with a small group recently where and these are not artists.
Mm?
When I say they're not artists, people, they're just average people.
Yeah.
A couple engineers and a couple, other people. But there's to draw like their definition of, say, frustration.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was really cool to see everybody's drawings, because then we come together and show the drawings
Ah.
and you talk about, oh, super interesting, Alex. And it's part of what Alexandra and I are going to be doing for the thing in November, the workshop that we're going to be doing. And so I was kind of testing it on this other small group. And it was, yeah, it's really something what comes out. And so what I'll try and do is pick out some kind of um, like a theme or something that words or yeah,
Yeah, you
something
could.
that jumps out about our discussion,
Yeah,
and then try and put that in there, whether it's
I
you
would.
know uh,
Yeah, and I could provide you when I would be really interested with what you would come up just completely freely, like
mm-hmm,
3, 4, 5 backgrounds. You would say, hey, this would be cool
mm-hmm,
backgrounds. We could put our video windows on for YouTube.
mm-hmm,
um, and then I could send you the topics when I locate when I cut
mm-hmm.
out like these 2, 3, 4 minute parts that I would use for a free range thinking YouTube channel.
Yes,
Then I send you the topics,
that would be
and
great.
then you could come up with individual backgrounds for those topics. That would be
That
really
would be
interesting as
great.
well.
That would be really great. That
Hmm.
would be make it uh, easier for
Yeah.
me
Okay.
to do that.
Okay, then
Cool,
I
cool, cool.
prepare two or three
Love
topics
it.
and send them to you, and that's a really cool experiment. I'm really looking forward to post the videos and then see uh,
Yeah.
how those are perceived.
Yeah. And it's perfect timing because I'm really doing a lot more artwork right now
Hmm.
and integrating it into more of the professional. I'm bringing it all together.
Hmm.
And so and we also have to talk about our merch perch and stuff like that because because I'm doing more artwork, I'm thinking of this and like, oh, okay, this is really interesting.
Yeah,
And so we have to like the behavior modification bracelets, and yeah, yeah. So we'll talk. And we should schedule a time to do that. In I should probably talk to you when I'm in Paris. I'll send you a message
hmm,
because I'm gonna have some downtime and I'm gonna be just inspired when I'm there. Just the energy of it, the whole thing is gonna really inspire me. So my brain is just gonna be it's gonna be like this volcanic
yeah.
uh uh idea situation going on. And so I'll yeah, again, I'm gonna set up my Hey Alex file for you, and then be like, okay, this is what we have to talk about. Yeah,
Yeah,
and because it would be cool getting something even just primitive and just the initial thing right before Christmas. That would
yeah,
be the cool thing to do. Yeah, just even as an experiment of seeing what we can do with it.
yeah.
Yeah, cool, cool.
Cool, cool.
All right then.
So I
I know.
hope I hope you're going to see your show this time in Paris.
Yes, yes, yes. I'm so excited to see Hannah Gatsby, and I'm so excited. I can hardly stand it. She's
Ah,
brilliant. She's brilliant. Also just like such a role model, and you know,
I
for
would
somebody
love
being on
to
the spectrum.
listen to a conversation between you both. That would be really cool.
Oh my God. Of course I would like love that. But yeah, although I'm sure like the best part I think about having a conversation with her would be just hanging out in the same space
Uh,
and like drinking tea or coffee and really not doing any talking whatsoever
uh,
would be make us both very happy. But it'd be like, yeah, I get to hang out with
uh,
you, because with some people that's all it needs to be.
uh,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Because I'm
really.
sure people that want to hang out with her, they're like, going, oh, and she needs to be funny. Whereas like I would be like, no, I don't need you to talk. You know, I just want to hang out. Yeah. No, I'm excited. I'm excited. But yeah. So everybody, if you stuck in this long to hear the last end of this this particular podcast, thanks for joining us. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. And for those who can't get enough of us, I would append the part we talked about in the first part before the intro. That I would append it now, so now you can listen what Sharon and I were talking about before we started talking.
Yeah, yeah. It is a randomness that we get so into something that we forget to do the
Yeah,
intro.
yeah. Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
it's not the first time, and it definitely won't be the last time.
It definitely won't be the last time. No.
Cool
Cool
then.
then. Safe travels
Have a
and
good week.
have a good
Yeah.
week. Bye bye.
Bye.